The Middle Ages was a historical period which spanned roughly from the 5th to the 15th century. It is often portrayed in popular culture as a time of darkness, ignorance, and brutality. However, this characterization is based on several myths that have been perpetuated over time. In this video, we will debunk the 5 biggest myths about the Middle Ages that people still believe. One of the most persistent myths about the Middle Ages is that it was a time of intellectual and cultural stagnation. This view was first popularized during the Renaissance, which saw itself as a rebirth of classical learning after centuries of neglect. However, recent scholarship has shown that the Middle Ages were a period of tremendous intellectual and cultural activity. This period saw the rise of universities, the development of popular literature, and technologically complex building projects. Gothic cathedrals are a great example of this. They were impressive feats of engineering, containing soaring arches, flying buttresses, and intricate masonry. In addition to their impressive architectural features, they were also adorned with stunning works of art, including stained glass windows, sculptures, and frescoes. The Gothic cathedrals represent a remarkable achievement of human creativity and ingenuity, and their legacy continues to inspire people to this day. Another common myth about the Middle Ages is that it was a time of unending warfare and violence. While it is true that war was common at this time, as during all human history, it is important to note that there were also long periods of relative peace. For regular people, they would rarely participate in combat during their lives. In fact, there were even ongoing attempts to achieve peace, the most famous of which was the Peace of God initiative. Proposed by the Church, this movement sought to limit how people in Europe could declare war and when. Also, it established a code of conduct that would protect the lives and property of non-combatants, such as peasants, clergy, and merchants. Most people think that the Middle Ages were a time of grinding poverty and squalor, with the vast majority of the population living in wretched conditions. While it is true that our modern world has much better sanitation, many common people at the time were not as poor as we think. They had many things we don't. For example, the average person would work fewer hours daily than we do, spend more time with their family, and eat a healthier range of foods. Also, life in the Middle Ages was not solely focused on work and hardship. People during this period enjoyed a wide range of entertainment and leisure activities. Festivals, fairs, religious holidays, music, theater performances, and sports were popular leisure activities during the Middle Ages, which almost all levels of society enjoyed. Another common misconception about the Middle Ages is that it was a time of widespread superstition and ignorance. While it is true that many people during this period believed in supernatural phenomena and practiced folk magic, it is important to note that there were also many who were interested in studying the natural world and pursued scientific inquiry. Also, just like us, the people in the medieval period were deeply fascinated to learn new information, particularly that which was obtained through their vast trade networks. Rather than being afraid of knowledge, they quickly incorporated technological advancements into their society. New technologies like the compass and gunpowder, which originated in China, were rapidly adopted and developed further in Europe. Finally, it is often assumed that women had no power in the Middle Ages and were relegated to a life of subservience and silence. Just as today, the role of women in the Middle Ages varied depending on social status, geographic location, and cultural traditions. Yet while women's rights and opportunities were often limited by the patriarchal social structures of the time, there were also many influential roles that women held during this period. Women played a vital role in the economy, working as merchants, tradespeople, and artisans. Many owned their own business, sponsored major events, and even pursued careers as writers, poets, and artists. As you can now see, the Middle Ages was far more complex and culturally rich than it is portrayed to be.